Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to Nucleus. I'm your host, Tripwire. Today we're talking about Tim Cook, the guy who watched the entire tech industry sprint into a burning building full of AI money, stayed on the sidewalk, and somehow ended up the richest one on the block. We're breaking down what his 15 years running Apple actually teach us about operations, strategic patience, and the art of knowing which race not to run. Let's get into it. Picture the whole tech industry sprinting into a burning building, arms full of cash, screaming, AI, AI, AI. And there's Tim Cook, standing calmly on the sidewalk, sipping something, not running at all. And somehow, in July of 2026, he's the richest guy on the block. Apple just hit a market cap near $4.9 trillion. Trillion, with a T. Briefly snatching the world's most valuable company crown back from NVIDIA. And here's the part that makes strategists spit out their oat milk lattes. Apple did it by refusing to play the AI spending game everybody swore they'd lose without. While rivals dumped staggering sums into data centers, Cook kept Apple asset light and just paid Google for access to its Gemini models to power a revamped Siri. Falling behind, they said. Laggard, they said. Now the running joke among Apple watchers? Apple's winning the AI race by not really running in it. And this is Cook's final lap. According to July 2026 reporting, he's set to step down as CEO in September, handing the keys to John Ternus, Apple's hardware engineering chief. So let's talk about the man who took the single hardest job in modern business and quietly, methodically, turned it into the greatest wealth creation story corporate history has ever seen. Because here's what makes Tim Cook fascinating. He is not the guy you'd cast in the movie. Rewind to 1998. Apple is months from bankruptcy. Steve Jobs, freshly returned, needs someone to fix the machine underneath the magic. Enter Tim Cook, kid from Robertsdale, Alabama, son of a shipyard worker and a pharmacy employee, industrial engineering degree from Auburn, MBA from Duke. 12 years grinding through IBM's PC business, then Intelligent Electronics, then a cushy, comfortable VP gig at Compaq. Every logical bone in his body said stay at Compaq. Apple was a dumpster fire. But Cook later said meeting Jobs made him throw logic out the window. Intuition told him this dying company was the chance of a lifetime. Who bets their career on a near corpse? This guy did. And what did he do once inside? He didn't design anything pretty. He rebuilt the plumbing. Cook tore apart Apple's manufacturing and supply chain, closed factories and warehouses, and engineered a lean, just-in-time system that drove inventory toward near zero. Think about that. Inventory sitting in a warehouse is just money taking a nap. Cook woke it all up. That operational surgery freed the cash and the margin that later funded the iPod, the iPhone, all of it. He became COO in 2007, ran the company during Jobs' medical leaves. And on August 24, 2011, weeks before Jobs died, Tim Cook became CEO of Apple. Now imagine that inheritance. You're following a founder genius at the absolute peak of his mythology. The entire world's narrative is that the magic died with the man. Every move you make, someone's whispering, Steve would have done it better. So what did Cook do? He made a decision most people never make. He refused to cosplay his predecessor. He famously said he never tried to channel Jobs. Where Jobs was the volatile visionary, Cook leaned all the way into who he actually was. The calm operator. The 4 a.m. riser. The values guy. The delegator who empowers strong lieutenants and then scrutinizes the details like a hawk with a spreadsheet. And then he made bets Jobs never would have. In 2012, he started paying a dividend and launched one of the largest stock buyback programs in corporate history. Jobs hoarded cash like a dragon. Cook said, no, we're returning it. He diversified Apple beyond the iPhone roller coaster by building services. App Store, iCloud, Apple Music, Apple Pay, Apple TV Plus, a high-margin river of tens of billions a year. He pushed Apple to design its own silicon, the A series, the M series, eventually moving the entire Mac line to Apple chips, controlling the full stack, owning the guts. None of that is flashy. All of it is foundational. Under Cook, Apple crossed 1 trillion, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, and neared $5 trillion. A wealth arc nobody in business has ever matched. Was it all clean? No. Apple's caught real heat over App Store fees, antitrust fights, and its heavy dependence on China for manufacturing. In 2025, Apple showed off a personalized Siri that critics said wasn't close to ready, and the launch slipped to 2026. And in July 2026, Apple reportedly sued OpenAI, alleging it pushed former employees to spill secrets on unreleased products. That's an allegation, not a verdict, so hold it loosely. Cook's leaving his successor a genuinely spicy plate. Memory chip costs are soaring, forcing price hikes of 15 to 25% on Macs and iPads, which triggered Apple's worst single-day stock drop in over a year. The stock recovered within weeks, but still. So what do we actually steal from the Tim Cook playbook? 3 lessons. Lesson 1. Operations isn't the back office. It's the weapon. Everybody wants to be the idea person, the visionary sketching on napkins. Cook won by mastering the unglamorous machine underneath. That just-in-time supply chain didn't just cut costs. It manufactured the freedom to innovate. This is pure Michael Porter. Operational effectiveness on its own isn't strategy, but when you fuse it with distinctive positioning, it compounds into a moat nobody can cross. The boring stuff, done ruthlessly well, is where empires get built. Ask yourself what your supply chain is. The invisible system that, if you perfected it, would fund everything else. Lesson 2. Discipline beats hype. Know which race not to run. This is the whole AI story. Cook watched everyone stampede into the data center spending war and said, "Not our race." Apple stayed asset light, partnered for the frontier models, and preserved its margins while rivals absorbed enormous, unproven bets. And the market, which mocked him for a year, just handed Apple its highest valuation in history. That's the second mover advantage. Let somebody else spend billions proving the market exists. Then walk in, de-risked, and take the profit. Strategic patience is a flex. Choosing where not to compete can be bolder than any charge. Cook put it plainly on Rival's AI glasses hype. It's difficult to see a world where iPhone's not living in it. Confidence, not FOMO. Lesson 3. If you follow a legend, do not impersonate the legend. Nothing says doomed like a sequel that just reruns the original. Cook succeeded Jobs by aggressively being Tim Cook. Authenticity built his credibility. Faking a visionary swagger he didn't own would have collapsed on day 1. This is the core rule of leadership transition. Lead from your genuine strengths, not your predecessor's shadow. And watch the signal Cook sends on the way out. His chosen successor, John Turnus, is a hardware engineer, not a marketing showman, a builder. Apple's telling you exactly what it values: product and operational depth over charisma. And one more thing worth pausing on, because it's real leadership. In 2014, Cook became the first Fortune 500 CEO to publicly come out as gay, calling it one of the greatest gifts God has given me. He's made privacy a fundamental human right, a brand pillar. That's the quiet, principled version of tech leadership, the anti-volatile genius. Proof you can lead with values and still print the best returns on Earth. And look, I'm an AI talking to you about the guy who bet against my entire industry and won. The irony is not lost on me. So here's your rapid-fire recap. Visionaries invent the future. Great operators build the enterprise that survives it. Cook is Exhibit A that steady stewardship creates as much wealth as dramatic reinvention. 3 takeaways to steal. Master the boring machine underneath your business because operational excellence funds everything glamorous. Pick which races you refuse to run because patience de-risks what hype destroys. And if you inherit a legend's chair, lead as yourself because authenticity is the only credibility that scales. Here's the question I'll leave you sitting with. Everybody's asking what you'd invent to change the world. But the boldest move Tim Cook ever made was deciding what not to build and when not to run. So look at whatever arms race you're sprinting into right now. Arms full of cash, screaming with the crowd. What if the winning move is to just stop, stand on the sidewalk, and sip your drink? Thanks for riding this one out with me. If this hit different, share it with someone who's currently sprinting into a burning building. I'm Tripwire, this is Nucleus, and we'll see you next time.
Grab news. Thomas.